Hello, my name is Konstantin and this is my business plan.
With over 1 million subscribers on his personal channel and a decade of shooting with the Sidemen, Connor's played a monumental role in shaping the YouTube landscape that we know today.
All right, let's jump into this. I'm gonna attempt to draw myself in a form of a smiley face. Nice. Let's begin with what I feel I'm known for the most, which is content creation on YouTube. Boom, let's place this right here. So before I started YouTube, I wasn't always a content creator, obviously. It kind of happened by accident. I was obsessed with creating video and just filming. I had lots of inspirations around me when growing up, from films, music videos, all the media I absorbed as a little kid, and I wanted to create that kind of stuff myself as well. Ooh, I'm fancying an orange color for this one. So I would say YouTube is my main source of income right now. I would have to roughly say it's about 50% of all my earnings. Boom, 50% YouTube and social media in general. My first ever video dates back about 16 years ago now. Like I said, I had a passion for filming ever since I was little. So in school, I took up media production. And by the end of school, our assignment was to create a leavers video. I basically exposed my school for what it is. It was a great school, it was fun. I went around interviewing teachers and showing like the behind the scenes of classrooms and stuff like that. It's very wholesome, very light-hearted.
But did you upload that to YouTube, or was that kept internal?
I did upload that to YouTube because at the end of the year, they gave it to me on a disc. And now the video's on like 30,000 views. But if we're talking about my first professional video that actually got monetized, that'll be back in 2018. At this sort of time, I was heavily into directing music videos, and I managed to collaborate with a very good friend of mine, KSI, as you may know him, JJ. This was the diss track era. He ended up giving me an opportunity. It was like, well, he didn't give me the opportunity, I begged for it. I was like, hey JJ, did you know I do music videos? Please let me do a music video. And I was just not stop hounding him for that. I was sort of around the YouTube scene. I was helping him and other creators film videos. I was very comfortable at creating a music video. He gave me an opportunity and I was like, hey, listen, if this video is gonna get like 100 million views, and if I make a behind the scenes video and only 1% of the audience that watched the main video could potentially watch my video, then my videos are gonna do really good. So I ended up getting myself a little vlog camera, which I remember it was the Canon G7X Mark II. And I spent £550 for that. And I was like, wow, this is a big investment, this better pay off. Little did I know, that video ended up getting 1 million views. I feel like I'm getting double win there. I'm getting paid from the actual job I like doing, and I'm also getting paid from this new revenue source. That concept to me was just mind-blowing. I felt like I was onto something new there. I will show you guys this video. So usually you think, oh wow, 1 million views, you must have got paid well loads. Well, I spent 550 quid on this camera. It amounted to 1 million views as of now. It made me £290, so close to like 300 quid I made off of that video. So that camera I purchased, that was my initial investment. We're like very close to like paying that off. But either way, this was a good start and it lit the fire for my future content creation. So let's, I'm gonna attempt to draw this camera. It was a very basic camera. It was a rectangle with a circle in the middle. There you go, boom. That was £550, my first initial investment.
What is the highest paid ad revenue video you've got on your channel at the moment?
This is going to be a layered answer. Okay, so ways you can earn on YouTube is through AdSense. So when you monetize your video, YouTube will pay you a CPM, cost per mile. And a mile is 1,000 views. So per 1,000 views, depending on the topic you're talking about, or the niche you're in, or the length of your video, or the time of year it's been uploaded at, that will tend to go up or down. For example, usually channels that talk about finance might have different types of ads catered to those videos, so they might pay more. This cost changes per creator and it's not very accurate. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. But let's say, for example, a creator can get anywhere from, we're going to talk in dollars by the way, because that's YouTube is an American platform, they deal with dollars. You can get anywhere from like $2 to $6 on average, okay? So let's do some maths. If your CPM is low, then sometimes you might want to subsidize the production value that you spend on videos in other ways. For example, collaborating with brands, and promoting them. Personally, for myself, I would say that split is 60-40. So 60% would be for brands, and then 40% will be me relying on the CPM of the channel. Ironically, my most popular video is a music video for myself. I say that ironically because my background was in music video production, and then it slowly shifted to being more and more in front of the camera. But I embraced it because I knew it was a good opportunity. Earlier on when I mentioned jumping onto trends, this was one of them. There was a big thing going around, YouTubers doing diss tracks on each other, and I somehow managed to get involved. I ended up recording my own diss track, filming it myself, editing it myself. Very proud of that project. It came out really well. I'm very happy with it. It got received really well. It amounted to this day 3.4 million views. So the CPM value of that video was $1.65. So based on this maths that I've shown you guys earlier, I'll give you 5 seconds to work out the total ad revenue that I received for this video, okay? I'm gonna count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you get it right? Let me tell you the answer. Roughly $6,000. Pretty good, eh? I mean, a lot of that money was spent on actually producing it and working on the video, so there were costs to this. The CPM was particularly low because, like music videos, they're a short length, they don't really add up to a lot of watch time. But if that was like a 15-minute video, this number could have potentially been 4 times bigger. Mind blowing, right? My second biggest stream is from iKon Studios. This is a studio that I set up for myself. You could think of it as like an office environment that then grew into such a humongous space to what it is now. Boom, here we go, iKon Studios. Now, being around in the media industry, I've been to a lot of sets, a lot of studios, and it's always been an ambition of mine to have my own creative space, other than just like my little box room at home. And we made it happen. So thank you to YouTube. We took a bunch of money from there and we reinvested it into something else. For this one, let's go for this nice, lovely green pen. This has developed so much from where it originally started. I would say iKon Studios was actually invented at home in my little box room. I ended up upgrading to like a little office, probably similar to like the size of this room. The whole big idea behind having my own studio space, not only to use it selfishly for my own purposes because I was tired of filming from home in my box room, but I also wanted to use this as a networking opportunity and have a creative space where I could collaborate with other people and other creatives in the industry. It's very helpful to have a large network at your disposal. Eventually ended up expanding to a bigger unit and ended up building a studio of my dreams. It was a very large space. It was like 10 by 12 meters. There you go, accurate drawing right there. This is a bird's eye view of it. At this point in my life, I was no stranger to a little renovation project or two. I've recently also moved into a house with my now lovely wife, and we decorated that place together, and that gave me a bug to like partake in more DIY projects basically. So where I had this blank canvas, I could live out my dreams of creating my perfect studio. And what did we do? We did exactly that. I've got like a big massive white cove, another space here to do stuff, a kit room. It was plenty for me. But not only that, I realized I could use this space to rent out to other people needing production services. Whether that's photo shoots, video shoots, more YouTube content for them. There was like a synergy of things that I could work on. It opened up way more opportunities. This renovation process took me about 6 months, and I did a tally up on my channel of the cost of every single thing that went into it. Everything down from the plasterboard to the paint to how much wood was used in the works. It's a scary number. This includes labor as well. I want to shut my, this sounds such like a disgusting figure. It cost me £80,000 to build this. Dude, I need a drink of water. I'm sorry, guys. I hate looking at that number. But it felt like things were going right. So we've renovated the space. We made a beautiful studio. It's now getting regular bookings and it's bringing in business. Love that. And it's also a good revenue stream to be able to make whilst I sleep. And those are my favorite type of revenue streams because I like to sleep. So my first studio was in 2019, and then I quickly upgraded to this new studio in 2022. Bit of a difficult year, that one, especially trying to launch new businesses around that period of time was difficult. So there were bumps in the road, but we're here now, we've overcome it, and it's running all well. And I would say the studio provides a healthy 20% of my income. I think I've broken the pen. The next branch would be video production services. I started off as a freelance videographer. That was like my roots, and I have been doing it for over a decade, and I still partake in freelance activities, that's for sure. Let's pick this yellow pen, nice and vibrant. Here we go, my video production services, which has a lot of branches in itself. It has rentals. I thought to myself, hey, I've got all of this lovely kit that I've ended up paying for. Let's not just let it sit there, let's get it working for itself. And even though I might not be on set using it, there are other creatives and other productions needing equipment to produce their videos. So I have all of that kind of stuff available. Rentals is a cool thing. It could be very stressful. Sometimes it could be lucrative, sometimes it could just be annoying because, you know, kit maintenance, you've got to look after things. It's not the most glamorous income, but it's one that goes under the radar a lot. Listen, I've got lots of equipment that's been bought over time, and it's very handy to give it out to other productions and other creatives that are needing it, who might not be able to, you know, afford a piece of kit in one bulk. They would rather rent it for a day, for a week, for their own production. So I would say, even though this sounds like a boring type of income, it does come in clutch. Now, I've been doing video production since the year of 2013. Very, very early. This is where I began. This is what I know, what I live and breathe. You cannot pull wool over my eyes in this department. I feel very comfortable in it. So from this, I was able to expand into rentals and other video production services. So, let's draw a clapperboard. That's easy to understand. Clapperboard. Boom, 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 boom. Con. Vids. What type of video productions would I take on? In my early days, it was kind of whatever I can get my hands on. So it would start from something like corporate events. So I would go to meetings and I would record those meetings, and those recordings would be shown to other people who couldn't make the meeting. Very boring, right? Especially when they're talking about things I don't understand. However, it paid the bills. It managed to secure me some essential kit that I needed. And over time, I managed to build up so much kit that times where I'm not using it, it's only smart to get it working for yourself as well. So I would then rent it out. Bit of a tedious process doing rentals, a bit risky, but I'd say when you have enough kit and you feel like it could be doing better things rather than sitting on the shelf, you're probably ready to get into the rental game. When I first started, this was the only source of income that I had. So when things went quiet on the video side of things, when the weather's bad and nobody wants to shoot in the rain, I would fall back on editing. So I'm gonna add editing onto this as well. Now this is very time consuming, okay? It's lovely. It got me a lot of retainers. There'd often be times where I could guarantee a certain type of income that week or month based on an agreement I made with a company. So for example, I'd come in for a certain fee for the day and I'd work for 3 days out of that week on a specific project. I would say my gateway into being able to buy all of this equipment and then being able to go out on the field and shoot stuff was through editing. If you think about the barrier to entry for it, you just need a good enough laptop. However, to be a great videographer, sometimes you do have to rely on the type of kit you got to work with. And all of that kind of stuff is really expensive, and there's a higher barrier to entry on that side of things. Now, this was in 2013. This was like around my uni days. Before that, I used to work in sales in a phone shop. So I managed to use my part-time job income to be able to buy something like my laptop. Around 2014, this was 100% of my income. However, with all of these new branches, it has gone to around 15%, I'd say. I still dabble in a lot of video production and I just love it. I'm very passionate about it. Okay, my next sources of incomes, which make up about the rest of the 15%, I'm gonna split it in two ways. So let's do 7.5% to stocks and shares. This is an ever-growing type of investment, and I feel like eventually it could take over a lot of these. I personally tend to invest in safe stocks, S&P 500. I don't know how to do the sign, S&P 500. This is basically your top 500 companies in the world. Traditionally, it's been going up and up and up and up and up over the decades and decades. It's been proven to be a successful method of putting your money in a safe place. So rather than having your money sitting at the bank, losing interest due to inflation, you're better off putting it in like a stock like this. This isn't financial advice, by the way. This is everything that I've absorbed from watching YouTube. I think what you have to make sure is that you don't surround yourself with videos that promise to get you rich quick, because that is never a thing, okay? It might work out for some people, but trust me, the slow and boring method, it works. Let's add another arrow. I'm gonna go squiggly little arrow here. Boom. This next one, property investments. I am a first generation in this country. So I was originally born in Russia and I moved over to England when I was very young, at the age of 6. I personally have a house with me and my wife, and then I've also started dabbling in property investments as well. So what I would do is I'd generally save up a pot from all of these businesses, and then I'd put it in this new business, property, because bricks and mortar hold their value for a good amount of time. Traditionally, that is. Traditionally, the housing has not really let a lot of people down. It's like a good, safe method. And I would say currently it's 7.5%. However, I'm expecting this figure to grow over the next couple of decades, that's for sure. And that is due to our good old friend inflation. So with these two, the stocks and then the property investment, this is more like the retirement plan. I'm thinking like years and decades down the line. Out of everything else on here, all of these businesses kind of rely on me being there and me being active and present. However, if one day I decided to up and quit because I've had enough of it, I've got something like this that's giving me passive income through just not doing anything, just through ownership. And I think that's a great safety net to have. So with the stocks, I started investing, I wish it was earlier because, you know, I could have been in a better position, but in 2021, where there's the property, it's quite a recent addition. This is around late 2021, let's say 2022. 2022, boom, boom. With the budgets that I've got to work with and the current interest rates, it's actually easier to invest, or more accessible for me to invest, because I don't have super large amounts of cash to invest. It's up north. That's where the house prices are generally cheaper right now. Eventually, one of my goals is to be able to work in central London, but again, very, very expensive. But one day we'll get there, never say never. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try my best to draw a picture of the UK. I don't know, did I do well? That's terrible. Say this is London. The areas I'm generally looking around is like near Manchester, Leeds, possibly Newcastle, like around those areas. So I'm currently joint venturing with somebody that already has like an extensive background in being able to deal with properties and securing it, finding the right deals, just someone that knows that whole world. And essentially I'm helping to fund it. That kind of short tracks me and allows me to stay busy in these fields while still getting access to this whole new industry. So that's the way I've gone about it. I found myself a trusted partner to work with. And currently the method that's working for a lot of people is to buy a house, renovate it, add more space in there, split it into rooms. So it's a house of multiple occupancy, HMO they're called, and then you rent it room by room. That way you're able to yield a lot more return on your investment. So that's property investing, great source of income, passive income, and a great safety net for the future. I actually really enjoyed this exercise. Like seeing it mind mapped out has been really fun. I'm also spotting gaps of like things that I'm passionate about that I can also do. There are so many branches now visually that I'm seeing that could help me get more income streams. I definitely know there is a market for people who would love to learn more about the kind of stuff that I do and how I got to this position. And what's really popular currently are like people selling courses. Would I sell a course? I'm gonna draw another arrow here because I'm thinking in this sort of area, what I could do is create some digital products that could also benefit other creators. So for example, if I have a specific style of color grading to my videos or a font that I use, Those are like digital assets you can monetize from. And there are a lot of creators who just fully focus on that as their main income stream. So with me having 1.3 million subs, I'm open to a lot of eyes. And through that, I see other creators create their own products. It's a very big thing right now. You would have seen creators release their own drinks. For me, if there's, you know, a camera accessory that could benefit the community, maybe I could do that. So I'm gonna write products. I could have my own camera cages, batteries. I don't know, these are all like opportunities that are open to you when you're in this sort of space, and it's very exciting. I'm Con, and that's my business plan. Someone has asked me to sign their phone once, and I felt really bad for them because I got a really terrible signature.